First of all, I'm not really sure why I'm wearing these glasses, but I just saw them and I thought they made me laugh, so that's that. Moving on. In the past week, brands have been getting their asses kicked about their behavior on Twitter. First, it was hashtag why I stayed because you had pizza. Thank you, DiGiorno. And then it's been about a week, but there's been a whole lot of stuff about brands and their 9/11 intentions. Now, I thought about whether or not I was going to even address this given the nature of the topic. But I'm the perfect person to address this given the nature of the topic. What we have here is a situation where brands reached out on Twitter to give their condolences, take a minute to remember. We're not doing any business today and we just want to say we're here. And the internet went bonkers. Everybody from the big names like Jason Calacanis right down to every known name schmuck out there. You know what? Even off the internet, right? Because last week tonight with John Oliver, who I usually find hysterical, 30 minutes of just gasping for air funny, weighed in on this. And he was the biggest dope of all of them when it comes to this particular topic. Now, what you may or may not remember, I remember very, very vividly, given my intimate connection with 13 Septembers ago, was that shortly after, when it was round-the-clock news coverage, and it was like news, commercial, news, commercial, and that was it. Coca-Cola came out, and they said, we're not going to run any ads during this time because we don't think you should be hit over the head with product and be sold to during this time. Pardon me. And what do you think happened to Coke sales? Do you think they stayed flat? Do you think everybody came out and said, Coca-Cola's talking about 9/11 during a very sensitive time, and they tanked? They went through the flippin' roof because everybody went, Coke's so sensitive. They get it. They're nice. They're right. They get what we need. All I'm buying is Coke. They're in action. Got me. That's an action. That inaction is an action. So, let's look at 13 years later. And Twitter's what it is now. Didn't even exist back then. And it is what it is now. 9/11, brands come out. Now, before we get into this, do I have to admit that it's a little bit weird seeing messages of remembrance from Fleshlight? Yeah, I do. That's a little bit strange. Male sex masturbation toys and 9/11 seem like an unlikely pairing. Now, had they done something weird like stand up two side by side the Twin Towers, that would have been offensive. But they just said basically, we want to honor and remember everybody. Now, if you follow brands like them or anybody else that said things, and there's a long list, I'm not going to name them all. But if you follow them and every day they're putting out tweets about their service, about their products, about their fans, about their contests, about their packaging, and whatever else. And they're putting out tweet after tweet after tweet. And then, one day they disappear. They go silent. What does that mean? What does that do for anybody? Has there silent remembrance? Well, that doesn't make any sense to me, because why are they silently remembering? Unless anybody within the company was individually and personally affected, then that's their individual, personal way of doing things. But the brand itself, sitting quietly remembering is dumb. They could continue to push their product, which is heartless and cruel, and I get why they don't do that. If they said, we're going to be quiet today, then that's them fishing for attention like Coca-Cola did. What if anybody comes out and says, hey, Fleshlight, got a technical question. Hey, Company B, I've got a shipping question. Hey, Company C, I've got an account question. Hey, I've got a customer service issue. I need help. And they didn't respond because they had taken the day off. Then who's the asshole? The company. They're trying to quietly remember, but they're not answering their customers. You can't quietly remember and answer your customers, because then that's not being quiet. With 300 million Americans and billions of people on the internet worldwide, not everybody is going to sit and quietly remember. Some people get up and go to work every day on 9/11 just like it's any other day. Some people don't know. Some people don't care. Some people think that there was a conspiracy involved, and they specifically ignore it. So should a brand shut down, potentially lose money, act like they don't care, act like they don't notice? Or should they leave a message? Now, Twitter is only 140 characters, as we know. It's not like they can write some really long, in-depth blog post that ends up being offensive and long-winded and miss the mark. It is 140 characters. Now, some people do really stink it up in 140 characters, and I get that. But it's not easy to do, especially when you're being generic and preformed about it. Today we want to honor and remember. Take one of my clients. They're here, right here in New Jersey. You can see the New York skyline from pretty much any place that they conduct business. You were affected. You know people. Hell, they know me. They pay me to run their social media. And I was very, very much affected. So, what should they have done? What should I, as a community manager and social media marketer, have done? Well, I'll tell you what I did. I made a mention of it. This is our backyard. We're a New Jersey company, and we cannot ignore the fact. So I put some out for them that basically said, they're a baseball company. No baseball today. All we want to do is just remember those who gave their lives. You know, something to that effect. What I didn't do for them, or for JVIG Media, was put ads behind it. I didn't promote those posts. Because you promote posts to get traction. You promote posts to get engagement. You promote posts to get reach. I'm not going to pay money to get reach in that. If only 6 people see it, only 6 people see it. If nobody sees it, same thing. It's one of those things where I say it because it needs to be said, but I'm not going to try to make it be seen. If nobody sees it, then it's one of those things where it just kind of goes by the wayside. Who cares? It's more for us to know that we did the right thing. And if nobody sees it, then they can't be offended. And if they do see it, then they saw it organically. And I'm not pushing it out to the world. It doesn't need to be pushed. It's not meant to do anything. But leave a message, an important message. A message that on a day like September 11th, we're not all about the money. We're not here to push something on you, make you buy, make you use, make us give you your money. We're not here to interact on something silly. 3,000 and something people died that day. And aside from the handful of terrorists, they were all innocent people who were just going on about their business. I'm not pushing social media services on that day. I'm also not going to sit quietly, somebody who's active, who's vocal. I'm not going to let my clients sit quietly, people who are active, who are vocal. And in a lot of cases, who are nearby. We're going to address it. And other brands, I commend you, I applaud you for addressing it. Everybody, on a personal level, changes their profile picture, changes their cover photo, makes a post, shares things from other places. Everybody addresses it. For certain brands, just clam up for 24 hours because why? Because they don't have a product that is worth pushing that day, or also makes sense to be solemn about that day. They should just say nothing. Be personal. You hit your customers on their level. I think it's really important to let people know that you're not a logo, you're not a brand. I talk about being human, being personable, being ubiquitous, being genuine, being authentic. I say all of those things. So do it. Know that people are hurting and be on their level. Not to get money out of them. If somebody called me and said, hey, would you... Forget it, not if. The day before, somebody said, hey, we need to talk to you the next day about this product and all these things. I said, I'm sorry, I'll have to talk to you the day after that. We don't conduct business on September 11th. And that was me trying to drum up business. It was about business that I was going to get anyway. And I turned it down. And if they said, well, fine, then you know what? we'll see you never, I'd say, you know what? Good riddance, because if you're shallow and callous enough to do business September 11th, I don't need your money. Things are bigger and more important than money. And brands addressing the darkest day in our nation's history by doing one thing and remembering those lost, there's honor in that. I appreciate it. I commend it. I applaud it. Please don't listen to the big mouths of the world and stop over that. It's all important stuff. It's not something that's part of a strategy. You don't do it because of how it affects your brand. Now, if you're being salesy about it, if you're being sneaky, if you're being underhanded, then you know what? I don't care what you do. You're done. You're doing it wrong if that's the case. And I will find out and I will call you out on it. But if that's not the case, and you're being genuine, you're doing it for the right reasons, you have nothing to fear. Okay? So think about that. These things matter. All right? Hopefully, the next thing I talk about here is something great and uplifting and awesome and not people making huge mistakes. But we will see. And we'll talk soon.